Hello, I'm Sally Pointer. Now, a few days ago, something really exciting happened. My new book, Nalbinding, It's Not Knitting, was published by Herbert Press, which are a division of Bloomsbury, and it was created in association with the Heritage Crafts Association. I thought I'd take the opportunity to give you a sneak preview, just in case you're thinking of getting your hands on it, but haven't quite decided whether to or not. For those of you that haven't really met me before, I'm an archaeologist as well as a crafts tutor. And because of this, everything that I write tends to be tied into the history and the archaeology of a craft, because I very much believe that if you want to understand where a craft is going, you have to understand where it comes from. So this book, as well as being a general primer aimed at beginners and improvers to the art of Nile binding, is an exploration of where these techniques have come from. Now, the title, It's Not Knitting, came about because there's a lot of confusion about what is and what isn't knitting, Nile binding, crochet related crafts. Nile binding is a loop manipulated structure. It's probably closer to knotting than it is to anything else. We can trace it right back into prehistory. So my book starts by looking at sort of things you can make using plant fibres, as well as the more familiar things that people use later in wool. I do cover things like joins, I do cover things like finishing, there's a certain amount about left-handed working. I've tried to make this a good basic introduction, and hopefully one that you're going to find lots and lots to keep you busy with. The Heritage Crafts Association does a huge amount of work to try and promote and champion techniques that have been with us for a long time. And every year they publish a red list of endangered crafts in the UK. Now, for a few years now, Nile binding's been one of those, because although we don't have an unbroken tradition of Nile binding, we can trace it back into the early medieval period. And these days, although there's an increasing number of people who are learning Nile binding, there really aren't that many people making their day-to-day living by it. But what we want to do with this book is bringing you techniques that you can combine with other crafts that you may already be doing. So although it's not knitting and it's not crochet, there are superficial similarities in some areas, and you can combine the two. But what's really lovely about this technique is that you need very little to get started. You need some yarn and a needle, and there are a huge number of stitches that are possible. We start off by looking at the background, what it is, what it isn't, what you need to get started. Then we'll look at things like yarn management, how you join a new yarn, how you tension the yarn, how you understand patterns. Now, I tend to split my work into looking at needle tensioned stitches and thumb tensioned stitches. So my work splits this into two different categories. And I do think that for most beginners, this is a really good way of understanding how the different stitches connect together. For each stitch type, there are a couple of projects that are generally inspired by archaeology but have been updated to work for the modern day. One of the things that Nile binding is frequently used for is socks. So we've got quite a good section on how you might structure socks and really get the best out of this type of garment. I don't go into a massive amount of detail in this book about Nile binding notations, but there is a little bit there. I know they work really well for some people, and I do encourage those that have a brain that works that way to really explore that. But I want you to be able to look at this book and go from plant fibre cord as you go type projects to thick, cosy, thumb tensioned woolen projects, all whilst understanding how this goes together. Nile binding is not knitting is available from all good booksellers, or you can order it direct from the publisher. It should be available in pretty much any country. Just check your big local online bookseller or your local independent high street bookseller, and if they don't already have it, they'll be able to order it for you. I've been looking forward so much to sharing this new book with you. And I really hope that you'll give it a read, leave it a review somewhere, because that's really useful. I want people to understand whether it's useful to them or not. And let me know how you get on with Nile binding. It's a very versatile craft. There's far more to it than I go into in this book. This is very much to start you off. But I hope you enjoy adding this to your crafting repertoire. Bye for now.